Since we started this channel 4 years ago, the most requested recipe has been Nasi Goreng. Hi, I'm Toine and welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to this channel, I focus on cooking foods from my home country, the Netherlands, and some of its former colonies such as Indonesia. We're making Nasi Goreng today. In Indonesian, nasi means rice and goreng means fried. So this is Indonesian fried rice. All over Indonesia, every region has their own version of it, and then when you go to the Netherlands, there is a version that the afhaalrestaurant or the Chinese takeout restaurant makes, and that's what we're making today. The ingredients you will need to make Nasi Goreng I have divided into 4 separate components. The first component, of course, is rice. You will need 390 grams of long grain rice. I am using basmati, and you will need the exact same volume that you have of rice in chicken stock. So for me, that was 2 cups. For the primary protein component, you will need 250 milliliters of water, 50 grams of chopped onion, 300 grams of chicken breast, 1 star anise, 15 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon of ketchup mayonnaise, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, and 1 teaspoon of salt. For the egg component, you will need 2 eggs, a pinch of salt, a tablespoon of oil, and a pinch of white pepper. For the final component, you will need 100 grams of leek, 170 grams of smoked turkey breast, 1 egg, 100 grams of onion that I'll chop later, 10 grams of garlic cloves, 100 milliliters of oil, I'm using avocado oil, half a teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of ketchup mayonnaise, 2 teaspoons of fish sauce, 1 teaspoon of sambal oelek, 1 teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of white pepper. We're going to start by cooking the main protein. I'm using a pressure cooker. So I already put the chicken in there. Going to add the water, the onion, the salt, the sugar, the star anise. It smells so good. Very licorice-like smell. But in the Netherlands, licorice and anise are 2 different things. In the States, sometimes people say if it is anise that it's licorice, but not to us Dutchies. So traditional in a Chinese restaurant, this will be made with pork shoulder. So all the seasoning is the same, but we don't eat pork, so I'm using chicken. You can use any protein you would like. So you can use chicken thighs, you can use leftover meat that you have from dinner the night before. It really doesn't matter. I really like it with the chicken breast myself. So I'm going to put the pressure cooker on the counter behind me, and we're going to pressure cook it at high for 7 minutes, do a natural release of 5 minutes, and then a quick release. I'll remove the chicken breast and put it on a plate so it can go in the nasi later. Let me get this started and I'll be back. Whenever you're going to fry rice, you want to cook the rice the night before, let it cool, and make sure all the moisture has evaporated. So I cooked this rice in my Instant Pot, then put it on a cookie sheet, let it come to room temperature, and then let it sit in the fridge overnight. Now with a fork, I'm just going to kind of fluff it up, separate all the kernels, because Nasi Goreng doesn't have kind of big clumps of rice. They are all individual kernels. So I'm just loosening it up on this tray. Instant Pot is at pressure. And again, I'm using basmati rice. It's what we had. You can use jasmine rice or just Chinese long grain rice as well. Now, one trick I learned from someone is that when you're cooking rice for fried rice, to add like a splash of lemon juice to the water. So I actually, when I cooked this, I added a splash of lemon juice to the chicken stock before cooking it in the Instant Pot. It's not really an ingredient, so if you don't have a lemon, don't worry about it. But I have found it helps by helps keeping the grains separate. This is pretty good. So I'm going to put this to the side, and then it's time to chop the vegetables. I have trimmed the root end and the dark green parts of the leek off. This is more than 100 grams, but I wanted to show you just how dirty leeks can be. So you can see there's a lot of dirt in here. I personally like cutting the leek and then washing it in water. Some other people will try to wash it kind of while it's whole, but I feel you can't get in between all the layers. So I'm going to chop all of this off and then weigh out 100 grams, and we'll be using the rest of this leek for some other recipes. This is a thick leek. Normally I make half circles, but because this is so thick, I'm actually gonna turn it into quarter moons and just dump the leeks straight in a bowl of water. Leeks are a member of the onion family but have a milder flavor than onions, and I really like it in nasi personally, but we also put it in many of our other dishes that we have cooked on this channel. So the pressure cooker with the chicken is done. You may have heard it beep just now. So I'm going to continue cutting this up, and then it's time to release the pressure. So now I'm just going to agitate all the pieces of leek in the water, and what is going to happen is the sand is going to fall to the bottom, and then I'm going to use a spider to take the leeks out of the water after it's clean. You can see how dirty, I think you can see how dirty the water is becoming by just doing this. Sometimes it will be more than dirt, sometimes there'll be little insects in there as well. So it's very important that you wash your leek very thoroughly. If they're really, really dirty, you may have to pour off this water, put new water in, and do it again. But this one had kind of big pieces of clay or dirt in it, so they just came off very easily. Now I need 100 grams. So try to get most of the water off. 90, almost there. 101, call that good. I am going to take the rest of the leeks out and put them in a baggie in the fridge, and then we'll be back to show you the chicken. I've taken the chicken out of the pressure cooker. You can see that it has gotten a darker color from all the seasonings that we put in the water. You can smell the anise. We're gonna let this cool off, and I'm going to discard the stock that is in the Instant Pot, but some people love the flavor of that and use it as a chicken broth. I've just finished rough chopping my onion pieces about this size, maybe 2-3 centimeters long and 1 centimeter wide or thick. And then I have finely diced the garlic. That's my vegetable preparation for the nasi, and now it's time to cook an egg. I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, please click the like and subscribe button. It will really help our channel. And if you want YouTube to notify you whenever we post a new video, click the bell. Time to make an omelette. I'm going to add my tablespoon of oil to a non-stick pan, and we're going to just let that preheat. I'm going to add a pinch of white pepper and a pinch of egg and a pinch of salt. I'm just going to beat this together. When we bought our measuring spoon set, it actually came with a spoon that is exactly 1 pinch. I don't know how to decide that that's a pinch, but that is my measurement of a pinch. Okay. Going to just swirl the pan around, put the oil over the entire surface of the pan. And now I'm going to add the egg. Often when you see other people make nasi goreng, they will actually scramble the eggs in the wok before adding the rice. The afhaal Chinees, by where I grew up, as well as actually the Nasi Goreng I would get on Wednesdays at the Koninklijk Instituut van de Marine, the Naval Academy, had nice strips of egg in it. So I like to do it that way. Don't try to agitate it too much, just make sure that it's setting, and then I like to just kind of run my spatula around the edge, make sure that it's not sticking. And then I'm going to flip it. Hopefully I can do it without breaking it. I'm cooking this over medium temperature because I don't want to get any color on this egg right now. I just want it to be nice and pale. So now it's double. Just going to cook it until the insides are cooked. And then we're going to let it cool off. The omelet is cooked, so time to take it out of the pan. And now we're going to let this cool off. We're almost at stir frying time. First, I'm going to dice the chicken. Just bite-sized pieces. I'm going to put the chicken back in the container that I had it cool off in, so that it's ready for me to use when stir frying. Having wet hands, there you go. Now it's time to cut the turkey. Now, just like I'm using chicken instead of the traditional pork shoulder, since we don't eat pork, I'm using smoked turkey instead of ham. Traditionally, these will be slices of ham that you'll be cutting up, so if you want to use ham, you definitely can. I'm just going to stack these all on top of each other. This packet happens to be exactly 170 grams, and we are going to make little squares out of it. So just going to cut them in one direction, rotate it, and now cut it across. I'm going to put that in a little ramekin. My egg has cooled off, and I'm going to cut this into about 3 centimeter strips like this. And then we're going to stack them on top of each other and make short strips that are about 1 centimeter wide in this direction. And putting that back on the plate. That was all the ingredient prep, so I'm going to clean up on the island a little bit so that we can put the final dish together. Now it's time to start stir frying. Make sure you have all your ingredients ready and within reach. I like to put them kind of in a specific order, in the order that I'm going to add the ingredients, so I don't even have to think about it. I have a cast iron wok. I'm going to heat it up over medium-high heat. And I'm going to add my oil. I'm using avocado oil because it has a high smoke point. You can use any other oil that you prefer that has a decently high smoke point, because it is going to get hot. Once the oil starts warming up, we will start with the onions and the garlic. I have a little spoonula that I'm going to use for just scooping everything around and keeping it in motion, and a little spatula that I will use to get some of the ketchup and sambal out of the containers. So now we just wait for the oil to come to temperature. Here we go. I'm going to start with the garlic and the onion. What's not to like about the smell of garlic and onion? Just stirring it around. And we're looking for the onion to get glassy. Pay attention that the garlic doesn't get dark brown, because then it becomes bitter. So just keep moving it. The onion is starting to become a little bit translucent, just a little bit longer. Now normally when you're stir frying in a wok, you like to toss it around. Since I'm using an induction burner, I can't do that, because every time I take it off, there's no heat coming to the pan. So I just have to rely on continually stirring everything. Make sure that you don't stir so vigorously that the oil ends up everywhere. So, okay, I think this is looking pretty good. Going to add the chicken and the turkey. Now I'm going to increase the heat to get ready for the rice. We're going to stir fry this until the chicken is starting to get a little bit of color. When I turned 18, military service was still mandatory in the Netherlands. So I ended up going into the Navy, and every Wednesday we had Indonesian food. And I really learned about, kind of real Indonesian food there. We would eat Chinees-Indisch from the local Chinees when I was growing up. But it was nothing like the Indonesian dishes that were served every Wednesday. Absolutely loved it. And living in the States, there aren't a whole lot of Indonesian restaurants around. So I just had to start learning to make it myself. Okay, I'm going to move the meat off to the sides of the pan a little bit. And now we're going to add the rice. Now the pan is really full. And again, start stirring it so that the chicken and the turkey really get distributed all over or all through the rice, and come from the bottom and then kind of flip it over so that all the pieces of rice, all the kernels of rice have time to get in contact with the oil. And we're going to stir fry this for several minutes, probably about 5. Time to add the egg. We're just going to stir this through and get it warm. You want to make sure everything is mixed through thoroughly so that whenever you take a bite, you have a little bit of everything. Okay. Now it's time for the leeks. I'm just going to give it a quick stir because I like the leeks to keep some crispiness to it, some crunch, to be a nice contrast to the fluffy rice. Okay, going to lower the heat a little bit, and now we're going to add our seasoning, the ketjap manis, the fish sauce. Traditional Indonesian rice, fried rice, has terasi or shrimp paste in it, but since I'm allergic to shrimp, I'm using fish sauce instead. But if you're not, you can use terasi, the same amount. Add the salt, the pepper, the sambal. And if you like it spicy, you can add more. And we're now going to quickly combine everything. Wow, it smells so good. Let's make sure that all the rice takes on that color. I could have probably used a little bit bigger wok, but this is the biggest one I have. Now I'm going to turn off the heat and add the sesame oil and give it a stir. All right, this is all stirred through. Every kernel of rice pretty much has the same color. I'm going to get a cork to put this to the side. And then if you've paid attention, you'll be like, hey Toine, you had one more egg on the ingredient list, and that's what I'm going to cook now. Okay, the last thing before I can finally eat the Nasi Goreng is to make a sunny side up egg. So I am heating up my pan with some oil, non-stick pan. So I've divided the rice into two different containers, into 2 containers. This is the one I'm going to eat from now. And we're going to put the egg right on top. Make sure there's oil everywhere. Put the egg in. I am not seasoning the egg. I am literally just going to kind of slowly cook it. The idea is that it doesn't get any crispy edges or any real browning. If you don't like sunny side eggs, you can also do an over easy egg. Just gonna let it go a little bit longer. Before I do a trick I learned from my mother-in-law to help the top layer to cook nicely as well. All right, there we go. The egg is sliding around. I'm gonna have my lid in one hand, a tablespoon of water in the other. I'm going to add it, put the lid on top, and this will steam the top of the egg so that the egg whites on the top get cooked without having to flip the egg. It won't need very long, 30 seconds to a minute. You can peek every so often if you want to. Okay, and we're there. And now I'm going to take the egg out. Oops. and put it on top of my rice. Let me take the pan out of the way so we can finally try this. All right, the moment I've been waiting for. Let's take a look at it. It looks beautiful. And I'm going to have a bite without any of the sunny side up egg first, but I'm going to make sure I have turkey and chicken and some leek. Eet Smakelijk. That was probably too big a bite to do on camera, but boy is it delicious. You can pick up a little bit of the anise on the chicken, the smokiness from the turkey, and then the rice with those familiar flavors of eating nasi goreng. It is so good. Now, what I really like is to take a bit of the egg with the runny yolk, because that richness really adds to the overall experience. Not a big bite. It is so good. That rich, creamy egg yolk really just adds to the mouthfeel of eating this. I absolutely love it. Now, you don't have to serve it with just an egg. Traditional way is maybe with some binda sauce, some achar campur. I've made that before, and I'll put the link to that video in the description below. Or even some ayam, satay ayam, some chicken satay, and I'll put the recipe for that in the description as well. If you're vegetarian, just replace the turkey and the chicken with tofu or more vegetables or anything that you want to add to it. And instead of using fish sauce, just use a little bit extra regular soy sauce. There's really so much you can do with this. Like, you can use different vegetables, but this is kind of the traditional way that I ate it in the Navy or at the afhaalrestaurant. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to share it with your friends. If you have any memories or questions about nasi goreng, you can post them in the comments below. I will put the written recipe on my website in both metric and imperial measurements, and you can find me on social media as well. If you make nasi goreng, I would love it if you take a photo and post it on Instagram with the hashtag Toineskitchen. I will share it in my story and on my website. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.